Hello everybody, I'm Hannah and welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to be talking about every single book that I acquired during quarter 3. Okay, so if you've been here before for one of these quarterly acquisitions videos, we're literally going to go through every single book that I have come to possess from July, August, and September, quarter 3. So this was technically by the numbers my best quarter yet this year. In quarter 1, I had, I think, 89 books that I acquired. Quarter 2 was 43, and this quarter is exactly 40. So it's not a lot better than quarter 2, but it is better. And that is all thanks to my July and August acquisitions, because my September acquisitions were atrocious. I believe in July, I acquired 10 books. In August it was 9, and September was 21. So not my best to round us out. We will get into the why. One of the big reasons is, one, I'm getting a lot more subscription boxes than I used to. Not more really than I've gotten for the whole year, but I did add on Allurial, which is Book of the Month's like romantasy subscription. So I have one more book subscription box. I have the big kicker for me in September was that both of my home libraries had used book sales, and both of them are semi-annual. So it's only twice a year that they have this large of book sales, and I didn't even go to the ones that were in March. So got a lot of used books. Yeah, so let's just jump into it. These are all organized alphabetically by author's last name. We're going to be going through them in reverse order so that when I take them from this side to this side, they're going to be all organized for me to shelve, which will probably take quite some time because that's a lot of books to shelve. Let's jump into it. First off, I got The Beautiful Word devotional. This was one of my used bookstore finds. I love a good devotional. Most of you know, but I am a Christian, and these are literally the most beautiful devotionals because each day you have like your scripture and little thing that you read, and then it has like really beautiful artwork next to it on one side and then journaling space on the other. I don't usually write in devotionals very much. Instead of like writing in the devotional, usually I junk journal my thoughts like consecutively, if that makes sense. But I'm really excited about this one. I have big plans for 2026. This one is dated, so I can't start it. I mean, I guess I could start it anytime, but because it's arranged in like months, I'm gonna try to go through it day by day in 2026. Okay, next up we've got, oh my gosh, I love this book so much. So this is Moonlight's, am I losing my mind? Yes, thank you. Okay, this is Moonlight Book Box's edition of The Road of Bones. I gave this book, I think, 4 stars, but honestly, the longer I think about it, it's like basically a 5-star read. I read it this year and absolutely am obsessed with it. Look at these edges. I also loved the sequel to this, which is Kingdom of Claw, even more than I liked Road of Bones. And the 3rd book comes out, I believe, in March next year, and I have an arc of it. So I can't wait to read that, and I'm going to be buddy reading it with one of my best friends, Magali. We read this book together, Kingdom of Claw, all that. So we'll just keep going with it. I'm obsessed with this. I think it's so pretty. Next up, I've got The South Wind by Alexandria Warwick. This was sent to me by the publisher Saga Press, and I really love this cover. I think this is the 3rd in the, I think this is the 3rd in the series. I have the other 2 also. I have not read any of these yet, but I will. Next up, we've got Everland by Wendy Spinell. This is supposed to be, I believe, a Peter Pan retelling. My mom gave it to me. I know basically nothing about this. Next, we've got Love for Beginners by Jill Shelvis. I am so excited to read this one. I just really love Jill Shelvis. She's one of those where I feel like people think that, or maybe I just used to think this, and so I assume everyone else thinks it, but she has a really large body of work, and I feel like sometimes for people that translates to like her books must be lower quality, but they're not lower quality. I love this one. Actually, looking at it, I think I did check this exact book out from the library like 2 weeks ago, so clearly I'm very interested in reading it. That's Love for Beginners. Okay, next we've got Bury Our Bones in the Midnight Soil by V.E. Schwab. This is the fairyloot edition. Pretty much credit me getting back into reading as an adult to V.E. Schwab because I read The Invisible Life of Addie LaRue and I was like, wow, this is magical and I miss the feeling of this magic. And that's what got me back into reading. So I still haven't read this one. I'm very excited to read it. I've heard the description toxic lesbian vampires like everywhere. So I'm assuming that's what this is about. And I'm excited to learn more. We've got Metal Slinger by Rachel Schneider. This is Fairyloot's edition of it. I'm obsessed with the spreads. The cover, honestly, I don't love. I feel like we shouldn't be focused on him. I did read this one. I gave it 4 stars. It would have been a 5-star, except I hated the ending. And I can get into a whole dissertation with you about why that was, but I think it ruined the whole book. Anyway, I'm intrigued to see where the sequel to this goes. All right, next up, we've got Wild Reference by Rebecca Ross. This is the Book of the Month version, and this is the Illyrial version because I forgot that I ordered this one when I got this one. The Illyrial version has these really pretty spreads. Honestly, I think I'm gonna end up keeping the Illyrial version. I don't know if I'll end up keeping this one, not because I don't like it, but just because I don't think that I need both, and I don't think that I annotated this one. Yeah, sometimes I write like notes in books, but I didn't do it for this. So I'll probably be unhauling this one or giving it to my mom. Again, not because I don't like it, but just because I don't need to. Next up, we've got some used book sale finds. This is Still Life and a Fatal Grace by Louise Penny. I have had this series on my TBR for forever, mostly because of Hannah from It Gets Good podcast and Meredith from Currently Reading. I'm very much looking forward to reading these. I thought that I was just going to borrow them all from the library, but these were like 25 cents each, and they're both in really good shape, and they're not mass market paperbacks, and they're very easy readable paperbacks. So that's the only reason I grabbed these. I still might not get the rest of them depending on how I like the series, but I'm very excited for this. It feels like a good fall winter read. That being said, I have no idea if I'll get to it, so we will see. But that's a Still Life and a Fatal Grace. Next up, we've got another Book of the Month book. This is The Heartbreak Hotel by Ellen O. Clover. One of my best friends, Maddie, read this and said that she should have DNF'd it, which leads me to believe that I may not love it, but it looks so cute and fall coded that I feel like I have to try. Pray for me while I read this that I actually like it. Next up, I got this at a Barnes & Noble BOGO 50 sale. This is When the World Tips Over by Jandy Nelson. I read her first book, or maybe it wasn't her first book, but the first book I read by her, I'll Give You the Sun, and this is a couple of years ago, but it's maybe still one of the best YA books I've ever read. So I'm really excited to read this one just because I know that I love Jandy Nelson's writing, but I have not yet. So I wanted to snag it just because I know I'll want it on my shelves forever. I should honestly get a copy of I'll Give You the Sun because I don't own one. I read it from the library. Regardless, this is When the World Tips Over by Jandy Nelson. Next up, we've got another fairyloot book. This is Heir of Storms by Lauren Hamilton Murphy, and I don't know anything about this book, but it is, not kidding, one of the most beautiful books I own. I think I'm obsessed with it. I'm very excited to read it because if a book is that pretty, how could it possibly be bad? Okay, next up, this is possibly my favorite, if not my number 2 most favorite book of the entire year that I've read so far. This is A Forbidden Alchemy by Stacey McEwen. I'm obsessed with this book. I've heard it described as Peaky Blinders. I would describe it as like Mockingjay Minecraft meets, I don't know what it meets. Cowboys? Kirsten from meets Little House on the Prairie, maybe? I don't know. Anyway, it is so, I wouldn't even be able to describe the plot well to you, but I think if you like romantasy at all, you'll like this one and feel like it's super unique. Again, I haven't seen Peaky Blinders, so that's usually what gets people hooked, I feel like, but I still loved it, even without that comparison. Next up, we've got another Moonlight book. This is Song of the Dark Wood, which I believe is a Little Red Riding Hood retelling. I've not read this one, but I'm very excited to. It's so pretty. There's really not an ugly Moonlight book. It's also very like thin comparatively, so I feel like it'll be a quick, fun read, and I'm excited to get to it eventually. Next up, this possibly might be the prettiest fairyloot book that I've ever received. This is Immortal Consequences by Ivy Marie. It is so fall coded. It's crazy. Even just like this, I'm like reliving why I think it's the prettiest book. It's giving academic Six of Crows. I don't know. We'll see what I think of this. But if it's anything like the cover, I'm going to be obsessed. Next up, we've got another BOGO 50 book. This is The Shadow Bride by Shelby Mahurin. I still have not read anything by Shelby Mahurin, but I have a lot of books by her. I have the whole Serpent and Dove trilogy. I think I have a book that goes with this. It's way up there. I'm not gonna look right now, but I'm excited to read this one. Next up, I believe this is an Owl Crate book. This is Never the Roses by Jennifer K. Lambert. It is also signed, which I love. This is very purple. It feels very whimsical, and I'm excited to get into it. It might be a Sleeping Beauty retelling, although I might have made that up. Upon further investigation, not a Sleeping Beauty retelling, but still, I'm so excited to read this one. Next up, I'm a little bit scared of this book. This is the fairyloot version of Catabasis. I think it's Catabasis. I think people are saying that's what R.F. Kuang called it. So, okay, my journey with R.F. Kuang. I have not read The Poppy War, but I really want to read the Poppy War trilogy. I have read Babel, and I have not read Yellowface. I don't think Yellowface will be for me, but I'd be willing to read it just because I do think R.F. Kuang's writing is incredible. Babel, I ended up giving 4 stars, but I felt like I more appreciated what it was supposed to be as opposed to rating it 4 stars for my own personal enjoyment. It took me forever to read it. It was a very good book, but I just couldn't see myself reading it again, which now that I'm saying that, like, I think I have honestly matured as a reader a lot in the last 2 years, and I feel like maybe I would have a different appreciation for it now. It's still in my house. I gave the book to my husband, so it's literally downstairs in his office, so I could reread it at any time. Anyway, that's Babel. This is Catabasis, which I have heard is kind of like an academic's journey through hell, which, having been through law school myself, I think will be relatable, but I'm very excited to read this one. I am a little bit intimidated just because, like I said, my experience with Babel was not the best, but I was still am very glad that I read it. So we'll see when this one pops up on my TBR. I don't think it'll be anytime soon. I've got another fairy loot for you. This is Arcana Academy by Elise Kova. Also don't know anything about this one. I know it's about an academy. I think there's magic. Thus ends my knowledge of this book. It looks spooky, good for October. We'll see if I get to it. I probably won't. Okay, this is another Owl Crate book. I am obsessed with these edges in a way that I have not been obsessed with edges in a bit. They're just silver, but they're so shiny and like iridescent. I'm obsessed. This is Hemlock and Silver by T. Kingfisher. Being completely candid, I have not been in love with anything that T. Kingfisher has put out. The most highly rated book that I have read, personally, not highly rated, period, is A Sorceress Comes to Call, which I did enjoy. She really has the like spooky fairy tale retelling down. I don't really know what the vibe of this one is. Is it a Snow White retelling? It's Snow White adjacent, but it's not a retelling. This is also signed, so I feel like I can't talk too much. An Owl Crate edition. I do love it, and I'm excited to get to it eventually. Next up, we've got a Moonlight book. This is A Thorn in Every Heart by Kate King. As with a lot of Moonlight books, I don't know anything about this, but I do love the spreads. It's giving Resand. What could go wrong? I'm excited to get to this one eventually. Next up, we have a book that I have already read. This is a Fairy Loot edition. This is Warrior Princess Assassin by Bridget Kemmerer. I was lucky enough to get an arc of this one, so I read it before this book ever came in. I really did not think that I would like this book because I have not read a lot into the why choose trope, and I don't think this is really qualified as like a why choose trope, but it is like features kind of a polyamorous love triangle-y relationship. If that is not your thing, do not worry. It was not my thing, and I didn't feel like I was getting beaten over the head with the romance of it all at all. There's only one or two pretty explicit scenes at like the very end, but I do think they're skippable. The whole plot of this, I think, was super interesting and fun. The characters are very witty, the banter is great, and everybody I feel like is very understandable and has very clear motivations, which makes it an easy story to follow, and I really couldn't put this one down. I really enjoyed it. I was such a huge fan of A Curse So Dark and Lonely. I feel like that trilogy kind of fell off with the latter 2 books. I've also read Letters to the Lost, which is a contemporary YA romance, and that was one of my top books of the year last year. I absolutely loved it. And so I've had a really good experience with Bridget Kemmerer so far on the whole, and I'm excited to get to more. Next up, I've got 2 books in the same series, and they were both gifted to me at separate times by Magali. So this is Come Back to Me and Never Leave Me by Jodie Headland. These are books 1 and 2 of the Waters of Time series, which they give me Outlander vibes because there's some time travel, there's some romance, and I'm very excited to get into this series and see what they're about. Next, I've got one of my friend Maddie's very favorite books. This is The Jasad Heir by Sarah Hashem. I'm so sorry if I'm saying that incorrectly. This is it's an Egyptian-inspired epic fantasy debut, sorry. There is a second book. I don't know if that's the last book, The Jasad Crown, that came out a couple of months ago, and I've seen genuinely not a single person dislike this book, so I'm excited to see what it's all about. Next up, this is an Illyrial book. I don't know much about it. This is called The Song, or just Song of the Hell Witch. Look at these Illyrial books. I love how shiny the covers are. This one has some beautiful spreads too, and I'm just curious to see what it's about. It's also pretty skinny. I wonder if there's there are a lot of words on every page, hence why I know I'm holding that upside down, but just so you can see how much type is on each page. That's why it's such a skinny book. Song of the Hell Witch by Taylor Hartley. Next, I've got, this one was from the used book sale because I don't think that I would pay full price for this because I'm not sure if I'm gonna like it, but this is Icebreaker by Hannah Grace. I don't know if I'm the biggest sports romance girl. I don't know. People have good things to say about this one. I've heard there's a lot of spice in here, which sometimes works for me, sometimes doesn't. If it gets in the way of the actual plot, I'm not always the biggest fan, but I'm excited to read this one. I like hockey. I like ice skating. Next, this is another devotional. I think this one is again dated, so I want to start it in January. I don't know that I want to do both devotionals in the same year. We'll see. This is called Live in Grace, Walk in Love. It is a devotional by Bob Goff. And then I also got, these are all also from the used book sale, Love Does and Everybody Always by Bob Goff. I think I've read some of Bob Goff's excerpts from all of these before, but I don't own the books and I want to reread, take notes, really dive into it. So those are my 3 Bob Goff acquisitions. And then next we've got, this is another fairy loot book. This is The Night Blood Prince, sorry, by Molly X. Chang. Again, no idea what this is about, but again, absolutely gorgeous. And then we've got another Illyrial book. This is In the Veins of the Drowning by Kaylee Cassidy. I hear this is about like sirens maybe, and I'm realizing that like every Illyrial pick has a woman upside down descending. This looks like into water, and I think the other one was into hell. Maybe this is a pirate book. I think that's maybe what drew me to it. Sirens, hiding from a king and his captain. A neighboring king comes to visit. Okay, so maybe it's not about pirates. I think I might have made that up. Nevertheless, I am excited to read this one. This has spreads too. They're a little bit more simple than the other spreads, but I'm excited to read. Next, we've got another used bookstore find. This is In the Afterlight by Alexandra Bracken. I have read two other Alexandra Bracken books, but they are both in the same series, and that was an Arthurian retelling called Silver in the Bone. I wanted to like that one a lot more than I did, and I read the sequel of it too, which was Mirror of the Beast, I want to say is what it was called, and her writing was really good. I just don't think that the world and the pacing really worked for me, so I'm hoping that something else by the same author will be better. This is also one of SJM's very good friends, and I think they talk about writing together a lot because she's always mentioned in SJM's acknowledgements. Because I love SJM, I feel like I should like Alexandra Bracken more than Silver in the Bone would lead me to believe I should like it. So that's In the Afterlife by Alexandra Bracken. Next, I've got another used bookstore find. This is Midnight Thief by Livia Blackburn. I don't know very much about this book. I don't think I've ever even heard of it actually, which is part of the reason I grabbed it. She's an assassin. There's a young palace knight on a mission. It sounds very like Selena and Kale adjacent, which I love those vibes, so I'm excited for that. Another used book sale book. This is Stone Cold Touch by Jennifer L. Armentrout. I have a lot of Jennifer Armentrout. I have not read a single one of, I've read one of her books. Sorry, that's a lie. I've read Half-Blood. And now looking at this, I think it's the second in a series. So we'll see when I get to that. Next, I've got our last fairy loot book of the day. This is A Dance of Lies by Brittany Arena. I have heard great things about this one. I used to do ballet for a really long time, and so a lot of people have talked about how the dance element of this would really work for you if you were a former dancer, which I was. So I'm hoping that draws me into this one, but it's also, of course, just a beautiful book. That's the ribbon. I thought that was like a spot. This is our very last book that we're gonna be talking about. Totally think I lied because I said that last one was the last fairy loot. No, I'm right. This is the last Owl Crate and the last overall book. This is one of the prettiest, most atmospheric looking books I've gotten for fall in the last couple of months. I just am obsessed with it. This was actually supposed to be the May Owl Crate pick, I believe, but it got postponed and didn't come in until September. I'm excited to read this one. It looks like the perfect fall book, in my opinion. I feel like trying to hold all of those up would be a very large feat. So I'm gonna hold up these and tell you guys thank you so much for watching this video and hanging out with me for the last couple of minutes. And I hope that you guys have a great rest of your day and read something that sticks with you forever. Thanks so much and have a great day.